Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's head-to-head we have Griffin Claw's Flying Buffalo Part 2. So this is Part 2 of our Griffin Claw Flying Buffalo drink-off head-to-head, and I want to thank Chris at Griffin Claw for supplying all these. He sent me one can of each variety of the Flying Buffalo release. If you didn't watch Part 1, go back and watch that. But basically, Flying Buffalo is Griffin Claw's biggest release of the year. It's mid to late October every year. And when they release it, you can pick up some of the tap room. It's been in bottles. This is the first year it's actually been in cans. And what I have here are two beers that we're going to put up against each other, and then we're going to put up two more, and then the winner of those two are going to go up against each other. Then we're going to take our winner of the first round, which was Mole, and that went up against the Great Lakes Coffee Flying Buffalo, and we also had the Raspberry Chocolate Flying Buffalo and the barrel-aged, 12-month barrel-aged Strong Spiced Ale, which used to be Dark Passenger. So what we have today, right now, is the chocolate hazelnut from Flying Buffalo. And I'm going to read the label off real quick here. It says, our Russian Imperial Stout is combined with organic, fair trade, freshly roasted coffee beans and toasted hazelnuts, then placed in bourbon barrels where the trifecta rests for 9 transformative months. The resulting Flying Buffalo emerges from its oak slumber with a perfect harmony of roasty hazelnut and coffee flavors, melding with delightful vanilla and bourbon undertones, creating a perfectly balanced and flavorful Imperial Stout. Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Yeah,
it sounds really good. And one thing about these labels is they're all very similar. They're just kind of like color swaps a little bit. This one's gold and black. That one is kind of more like a copper and black, I'd say.
Yeah, I noticed this one's got some coffee beans on it, on the top. I don't know what that one has.
Yeah, it has basically like oak barrels in the background. So this one says, our Russian Imperial Stout is transferred to freshly emptied bourbon barrels immediately upon fermentation, where it rests for about 9 months in our climate-controlled barrel bunker. This beer remains under strict supervision of our brewmaster Dan Rogers as it endures controlled temperature fluctuations in a painstaking process unique to Griffin Claw Brewing Company. Aging is complete and packaging begins at the peak of our barrel aging process, when Flying Buffalo is collectively determined to be ready for release in limited supply. So this one sounds like this is the 9-month barrel-aged Imperial Stout. Sounds like it's like the base version.
Standard, yeah.
Right, and then we have the coffee and hazelnut, which is a variety of that. So which one do we want to open first? What we consider to be the lower seed?
Yeah, I don't think we've had any inkling to what, we do lower or higher. I think that's probably the higher seed, right?
It is. We consider this number 3, totally unscientific. And this is the coffee and hazelnut, and I'm ready to open this one up. So let's do it.
Yeah, I'm hearing Dan Rogers' name a lot. He's a busy man.
He's on all these cans, I think. Yeah. So we're just going to pour a minimal amount just in case this goes on to a next round.
I think we expected to, but from the first 4 that we did, nothing's to, don't take anything to chance at this point.
Yeah.
We could go either way.
So this is chocolate and hazelnut. It looks very dark. A little bit more brown than some of the others have been. Some of the others have been a little bit darker, almost blackish. Ooh.
Yeah, I think the chocolate raspberry, we got a little bit of...
more of a red hue to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Smell this. This is really good. You get that sweet hazelnut and a little bit of a coffee kind of back end on it. Almost like a caramel, maybe toffee kind of smell.
It reminds me a lot of the Great Lakes Coffee Stout that we did earlier.
Yeah, but just not as much bourbon.
Right.
All right, I'm ready to dive in.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's good. Not as good as I would have thought, though.
I don't get as much hazelnut as I would expect.
You get a lot of hazelnut in the smell, but in the taste, not as much, and almost a little bit more bourbon, like on the tail end on this one.
I definitely get the bitterness of the coffee on this one.
Yeah, it's like this astringency on the front end, and then that fades into a little bit more of a bourbon kind of taste than I was expecting, especially smelling it. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of expect a little bit more just out of the scent of this one.
I think we both thought from just reading the label, reading the can, that we thought that we would like this one quite a bit. I think this one was maybe top 2 or 3 out of all 8. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not bad by any means. Slightly disappointed though, I think, initially.
Get a little bit, as it kind of sits, I get a little bit more of a toffee kind of taste.
I think I definitely get more of the hazelnut as it kind of sits on your tongue.
Okay, so this is the 9-month barrel-aged Imperial Stout.
So I think this is their barrel-aged Russian stout, just without any kind of flavoring after, just their standard, yeah.
It kind of seems like, just reading it, it seems like it's kind of like the base version of what these other Flying Buffaloes are made of. If you were just to say, I want Flying Buffalo, this would probably be what you get. And when I went and got these, all these were on tap. So they had them still on tap. They still had cans available in the tap room, which is really cool that they had that available. So let's put a nose on this. It's got a really... See, I still think the hazelnut's a little bit browner, and this is kind of darker, like the other, like the Great Lakes coffee.
This is darker, but I get a sweeter scent out of it, which
than the hazelnut.
Yeah, which surprises me.
In a way, I think this one has more of that toffee kind of smell to it, but this one has kind of more like a latte kind of scent to it. You know, like a little bit sweeter.
I expected just to get more of a bourbon smell to it, but I don't. I get that a little bit, but not as much as I thought. A
little bit of vanilla. I'm ready to dive in. Cheers.
Let's do it.
It's got a bit of a roasty kind of taste. Yeah. Bourbon's in there, but not too strong.
No. But this was definitely what I would expect from a barrel-aged bourbon stout, definitely.
Yeah, it's nothing flashy.
Right.
Nothing kind of out of the ordinary, but it's just a good, solid stout, a good, solid barrel-aged stout. Better than CBS this year. I'll direct all hate mail, too.
I haven't had it. Don't ruin it for me.
Oh, sorry.
Mine's sitting down there somewhere.
He didn't watch the video.
I haven't. I know the Mounties gone.
Yep. It's kind of like what we said on the first video. So again, if you haven't watched the first video, go ahead and back and watch it. But I feel like back-to-back like this, having the regular 9-month barrel-aged and then having the chocolate and hazelnut, it fares better than the chocolate and hazelnut. The chocolate and hazelnut just tastes like a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
For what it sounded
it's definitely
like.
surprising. I thought for sure I would like that one. I think the hazelnut part is definitely underwhelming. I definitely get a coffee flavor to it, and a little bit of hazelnut from the smell, a little bit on the back end, but not what I would expect.
Yeah, not as much as it sounded like it would be.
Right. And the standard barrel aged is solid.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that I would sit and drink. It's what I would expect. And I think the coffee hazelnut is a little, like we said, underwhelming. Not what you would expect. Right. Yeah, I think they needed to amp it up a little bit, sweeten it up a little. So
I think we're probably unanimous, pretty clear cut that the regular 9-month barrel-aged stout is definitely the winner out of these two.
Yeah. Yeah, again, and not what we expected. It's kind of been that way all throughout.
Yeah, we've been totally against what we thought would be like. Oh, we'll put this one out. This should be a layup, but yeah, it's actually been pretty tough.
Yep.
So we're gonna go ahead and cut to the next one, and that is gonna be the orange chocolate and the barrel aged wheat wine, which otherwise known as Oblivious. So we're gonna be back with that one. All right, so we are back. And this time we have the orange chocolate versus Oblivious, which is a barrel-aged wheat wine. We kind of, like we said just before the break, it's been a little bit different than what we thought would kind of come out of this. So I'm almost like I don't know what to expect out of these two.
No, I'm kind of going the opposite. I'm thinking we're gonna love Oblivious. It's just gonna blow away the orange chocolate, but not so fast.
Right, that's the way it's been going. So the orange chocolate. On the back here, it says, new to Flying Buffalo lineup comes a favorite flavor combination loved by many and new to some, orange and chocolate. We took our 9-month barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stout and combined rich cocoa nibs with orange for a complementary citrus chocolate flavor that pairs well in this bold and robust Imperial Stout. Kind of sounds like one of those those chocolate orange things that you break, you know?
Right.
All right, and then we have Oblivious, which it says here on the back, 2018 World Beer Cup Silver Award in the aged beer category. This highly acclaimed wheat wine spends 12 months aging in bourbon barrels, then blended with precision into oblivion. The end result pours smooth and balanced with a bright, warm russet color and ivory head, beginning with alluring, fresh bread dough notes, in quotes, notes which transform into rich, voluptuous caramel, toffee, and honey flavors in an absolutely intoxicating finish. It sure sounds good.
2 totally different beers.
Yeah. This is why we picked them this way, folks. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open the orange chocolate first. And the formula that we've been going with is to pour these in our Old English D cups first. Definitely pouring it has a little bit more of an orange kind of tinge to it.
Yes.
Than the others have had. All right, put this one up in front. We're gonna give it an old whiff here. Put a nose on it. Oh, it's the orange actually kind of. At first, I took a sniff and I'm like, I'm not getting any orange.
Yeah.
And then it kind of hits you. You get a lot of that sweet, fragrant, kind of citrusy orange scent to it.
Yeah, definitely a good orange smell. I don't know if I get much of the chocolate.
I feel like
smell.
I do.
Okay.
Like I said, one of those chocolate oranges, that you could smack on the table and they split up. You kind of get that. If you've had one, you smelled it. It smells it's like the scent that you remember the longest. You associate with things, so it's like you don't forget a scent.
Yeah, and a lot of people are doing a chocolate orange. I know Southern Tier does one.
Yeah.
There's a few other people doing them, and they're all fantastic. So I would expect nothing less from this.
I am ready to dive in. The alcohol legs are a little light. I don't see much, but this one is 12%. All these have been 12% except for very few. I know this Oblivious, is 10%. So that's going to be ranking a little bit lower in the scale, but
I think they've all been really dark with a slight, hint of whatever
the flavor, color
orange or red for raspberry,
right. All right,
let's do it.
Let's jump in. Wow. Yeah. Just got to rub your fingers together.
Yeah.
The mouth feels really kind of thick, and all these have been very thick and syrupy to extent, but not heavy. Has a really nice mouthfeel. This, you get that fragrant kind of orange taste, like right at the beginning. And as it fades, you get a faint hint of not so much a dark chocolate, which you usually get in a stout. You think of like more of a dark chocolate kind of taste, but it's almost more of a light kind of milky chocolate kind of taste.
Yeah,
creamy.
It's kind of back and forth. You get the orange, you get the chocolate, and then I think you kind of get the orange after.
Yeah.
It's kind of all three, not all three, but, orange, chocolate, orange.
The second coming of the orange is more of like a creamy kind of orangey taste, though. Not necessarily like a creamsicle, but it's definitely leans more towards a creamy kind of orangey taste.
And it's, you can tell by the name, it's a sweeter stout.
Yeah.
I mean, the orange sweetness, you get the chocolate sweetness, like you said, not a dark kind of chocolate, like more of a sweet milk chocolate. Mm-hmm. The orange on the front and on the back. And you continually kind of get that orange fragrance after it's done, you've kind of
it kind of wafts through your nose a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to try, I want to keep calling it Oblivion, but it's actually Oblivious because I'm oblivious to the name. So we're going to go ahead and crack this one.
I'm going to take a drink of water after that one.
Go for it. Cleanse that oh, wow, look at this.
Totally.
This is totally dark. Look how dark this is. Oh my gosh, I can't even see through it. So yeah, this is, wow, it's very honey colored. Don't want to pour too much because the way this has been going, it's going to be the one that goes on.
No, and this is a far cry from everything that we've had. Yeah, I can look through here and see the camera.
This is the chocolate orange, and this is Oblivious, which is a wheat wine.
It's 7-1. Yeah. 7 darks, 1 light one. Wheat wine.
Oof, getting a kind of a... definitely getting a honey.
And get a berry kind of smell to it as well.
Yeah, it smells very sweet. I'm almost like, what am I going to taste when I drink this?
One of these things is not like the other.
Yes, absolutely. One of the 8 is not like the other. But I definitely like the smell. It's got a really nice smell to it. I just want to see what it tastes like because I'm curious at this point. Wow, it's like, how many flavors are in this? Yeah. How many? It tastes really complex. It's a little bit lighter than the others have been. It's lower ABV. It's 10%, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's stupid to say that it's a wheat, but I definitely get the wheat flavor. But there is a sweetness to it.
Very sweet up front.
I just like smelling it.
Yeah, it's almost got like a meaty kind of taste to it. You know, like mead from honey and all that stuff. So you get that honey kind of taste in it. This is going to be tough. This is probably going to be the toughest decision between these two.
Yeah, they're both very different.
And he's definitely a stout guy. He's definitely a dark beer kind of guy, just like me. So this is going to be really tough because this is obviously not a dark, but I think we both have a little bit of a soft spot for
I like
for wheats.
Yeah, I like wheats.
Hefts.
I definitely the hefts are right up there with stouts. I think if you're watching this and you've maybe you're not a huge stout fan, maybe you're not a huge sweet beer fan, I think you should try this. From a lighter standpoint, wheatier standpoint, you're gonna like this one. Like we said, one of these things is not like the other. This one's kind of stands out for sure.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way.
Right.
Just in a different kind of way.
Yeah, because it's like kind of with the mole, it was so different.
Right.
You kind of have to pay attention to it, and I've already made up my mind. I've got a decision.
We may disagree on this one.
Well, veto powers don't apply here, so I mean it's tough. I really like the orange chocolate, but I gotta go with Oblivious because it's just, maybe it's because we've been drinking so many of these really dark stouts and you get something that's a little bit different, actually a lot different, and it doesn't have that kind of coffee, kind of roasty kind of taste. It has more of like that meaty kind of honey quality.
It's
sweet.
It's a coin toss for me. Yeah. I think it was which was it? The chocolate raspberry and the other one that we did. The Spice Strong. It was really like you could go either way. I could see on a different day you would choose one versus the other.
Yep.
Maybe on a little bit warmer day you'd go with the wheat. And I definitely like that one. The chocolate orange it's just a solid beer.
It definitely is.
It compares to a lot of other chocolate oranges that are out there, and there's definitely nothing wrong with that. And I will let you use your veto power because I can't decide between
martial law here.
I can't decide between the two. They're both fantastic.
Yeah.
Like you could give me either one, and I wouldn't complain.
No complaints. I just, because it's so different, because it's so out of left field, I just have to go with Oblivious because, now that you kind of think about it, it's Oblivious because it's totally oblivious to the rest of the series that are all darks, all stouts, all these chocolatey, coffee, roasty kind of tastes. I'm just going to have to give it to Oblivious just because I think it is different enough. It's a really solid beer. It almost doesn't fit with the whole Flying Buffalo motif.
It's definitely strange,
yeah.
and I think that's 3 out of 4 that we got wrong, but we kind of ranked, based on what you thought, just reading the label, reading the name, kind of thinking what you've had similar.
Yep.
And you're going to go, well, this is your 1 through 8.
Right.
I think we've kind of changed our minds just having this. And that speaks to what they're doing at Griffin Claw. I mean,
it's totally, totally out of left field. I mean, I would not have thought, even at the beginning of recording this, that one of the top 4 beers, hell, top 3 beers at this point, because we haven't gone through it, was going to be the wheat wine. So we're going to come back. We're going to measure it up against the regular straight-up barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stout, the 9-month barrel-aged beer, and we'll come up with a winner between those two, and then we'll hit the final. So we'll be right back. All right, so we're back, and we have our final 2 beers before the final. So these are semifinalists. Right. So we have Oblivious, which is the wheat wine, versus our first little segment, winner, which was the 9-month barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stout, which we believe to be kind of like the base beer that it's all based on. We still have our glasses of Oblivious here because we just finished our kind of decision-making process. So I'm going to pour a small amount. And again, these have been sitting out for about probably 20 minutes at this point, 15 to 20 minutes. So they've both been out for the same amount of time. And just to kind of keep enough in the can or in the glass, I guess one of these two are going to go up in the final.
We still got a final to do.
That's right. So I don't know if you're going to be able to tell the difference between these two. I mean, they look very similar,
Really,
but I think
close.
This one's the barrel-aged. This is the Russian Imperial Stout. This one?
No.
Sorry, guys. They look so similar. This is the wheat wine, and this is the barrel-aged Imperial Stout, which, again, we kind of believe to be the base because they seem like they're all built off the same level.
We still got a final
had
to
the
do.
wheat wine. Let's kind of go with the
Go back to this one?
Yeah, Russian Imperial, just to kind of almost like a change of pace.
Dark to light to dark again.
And if you want to know any of the notes, any of the aroma, or any of the flavors, just rewind this a little bit. If you're watching this video, you probably haven't skipped ahead to see this part, but if you have, go back. So this is the Russian Imperial Stout, 9-month barrel aged. Again, just a solid Imperial Stout.
Yeah.
Barrel aged Imperial Stout. I mean, what more can you say than what we've already said?
Nothing.
Nothing can be said. All right, so this is the barrel-aged wheat wine. You know, this one, kind of nitpicking a little bit, getting a little bit deeper. It's 10%. And as it warms, you really start to pick up on that kind of alcohol bite at the end. You start to get that kind of boozy taste out of the end a little bit. I do.
Mine's all gone, but I'm going to pour a little bit more.
Yeah, it's very sweet. It's got like that citrusy and kind of honey, citrus kind of bitterness to it a little bit. And then it's got that honey kind of sweetness up front. Again, I think this is a really solid stout, but I think the wheat wine kind of kicks it up.
The wheat wine is definitely, it's unexpected, it's different.
Yeah.
I think that's what we talked about with the one that, whichever one of these two is going to face, was something that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
It's something out of the ordinary. We both agree that this is the standard that they're kind of running everything off of. Mm-hmm. The wheat wine just is completely different, and I would agree. I think that one, is going to go on to the final.
Yeah, I think just because it's unconventional, you wouldn't really expect it. It's different enough. Maybe if you had a bunch of wheat wines, if you had a wheat wine Flying Buffalo line, and you try, this one might not be the one. But I think because it's just so different, and it's really solid. It's got a nice sweetness to it. It's got a honey flavor. It's got that citrus quality to the back end. It has that little bit of a boozy taste as it warms, and that would be my only knock against it, is it has that booziness. But I think that I'm going to pick the wheat wine.
Yeah, I think it's something that you could drink this time of year. I think it's something you could drink in the summer. It's not heavy by any means.
Right.
So really any time of year, I think that's something that you could have. You typically have stouts more towards, the fall, winter, maybe late spring.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. I think if we went back and kind of ranked them all 1 through 8, personally, I think that would be number 8, just by reading it, looking at it.
Yeah.
And, it's far gone beyond my expectations.
Yeah, next time maybe what we'll do is ahead of time we'll write out like, hey, what do you think? And we'll kind of put something together. But yeah, I would definitely say if at the beginning of starting all this, I'm just going to set this aside. I would not have thought that Oblivious would be the one that would be going in the final. And so what we have for the final is Oblivious versus Mole, and we will be right back with that, and stay tuned. All right, so we're back, and I was just kind of putting these next to each other. We have Oblivious versus Mole. Like I said, we kind of ranked these unscientifically before, just kind of put beers together that we thought would kind of complement or maybe be opposites of each other. And I just want to mention that we thought Oblivious, we kind of just gave it a number 5, and Mole was number 8. So we didn't really, I think ahead of this, I had heard things that Mole was good, but I wasn't really sure what I thought or what it was actually going to be like. Because again, I'm not a spicy beer kind of guy.
We kind of did top 4, bottom 4, I think is more or less what we did. I think, going back, maybe doing this again, I think we would kind of rank them 1 through 8.
Yeah.
Make it a little bit, more scientific. But again, it's not scientific because we're just doing it off a name or what we had before. So
right.
I think throughout this whole thing, the 2 videos, we've been extremely surprised on almost every beer that we've had.
Yeah. And we are on the last drop of Mole. And before we kind of go through and just announce a winner, again, I just wanted to give a huge shout out, a big thanks to Chris over at Griffin Claw for supplying these. He supplied a single can of each variety to come and kind of taste and put against each other. And again, big shout out, big thanks to Chris. And let's go ahead and move on. So we have Oblivious, which is a barrel-aged wheat wine, versus Mole, which is a Mole spiced stout, essentially. So,
which one are we doing first?
Let's go with the Mole because we've it's been a while since we've had it.
It's been a while. And we put it back in the fridge. We got it out maybe 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So it's, it's warmed up a little bit.
It's a little cooler than the wheat wine than Oblivious is, but I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. Maybe a 5-degree temperature change. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. But yeah, if you want to see anything about Mole, just go back to the first.
I love that smell.
Yeah, it's a really good smell. It's like you get that chocolate, you get the spiciness, you get the cinnamon, you get all that, and not a whole lot of bourbon kind of taste. And yeah, it's a really good beer. This is, again, I've said this, I don't know how many times I've said it across these 2 videos, but not a big spicy beer kind of guy. Again, it kind of gives me just heartburn. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I just really like this beer. It's got a nice cinnamon finish on the end. Again, you get the kind of cinnamon on the sides of your tongue, and the chocolate kind of bursts up. The coffee kind of bursts up through the center of your tongue. It's just a really interesting combination. It's
a beer for this kind of season, like November, December, January. I like spicy food. Yeah. I don't like spicy beer.
I love spicy food.
But this is. It's like a spicy, kind of spicy coffee. You get it's more cinnamon spice than like hot spice. It's definitely different. It's not what you would expect. I didn't expect to like it at all, to be completely frank, and it made it all the way. So
yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
If you would have told me the top 2 beers in the little category would have been a spicy stout, I would have told you where to go. So it wouldn't even cross my mind to think that would be a possibility. So we're going to move on to the Oblivious, which is the wheat wine. Just a nice smell up front, really kind of sweet. Again, as it warms, it kind of has more. You get a little bit more of that boozy kind of bite at the end, but I also feel like right before that booziness, you get a little bit more of that honey kind of sweetness out of it.
Yeah, it's a little bit sweeter than what I think we got a couple minutes ago when we tried it.
I think I know what I'm going to pick.
I think we're going to be on the same page.
Yeah, you think so?
I hope so.
Well,
I don't want to get overruled again.
Since I am the guest here, I'm going to let Dave say what he thinks his winner is, and then I'll confirm it or deny it.
If I had to pick out of these 2, and being a stout guy, I think I'm going to go with the Mole. It's fantastic. Going into this whole thing, I would have ranked it. Honestly, I think I would have ranked the 2 of these 7 and 8, both out of all of them, and I'm pleasantly surprised by both. The Mole is just so far beyond my expectation of what I thought it was going to be. It's sweet, but it's still a stout, and it's got some spiciness to it, and there's just so many different flavors mixed into the entire experience of this beer. I would drink a couple of these and not bat an eyelash of having a good evening, having a good good dessert beer. you could drink it anywhere, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to agree. I think I like both of these a lot. Again, like you said, if we would have had to rank these and we said like, 7 and 8, you know, I would have given probably Oblivious would have been 8 and Mole would have been 7 for sure. But I am totally blown away. Mole, yeah, definitely takes the cake. I like the Oblivious a lot, the wheat wine a lot, but I just think that, again, not being a spicy stout guy and not being a spicy beer guy, and you have it and you're like, oh, spicy. But if you give it a chance, it just kind of, everything kind of opens up. You get that sweetness up front, you get the cinnamon, you get the spiciness on the tail end. It's just totally out of left field, and I have to say, I think that Mole just takes it this time.
Yeah, I don't think we could complain really about anything. I think the most disappointed we were was the coffee hazelnut. Yeah. It wasn't bad by any means, but all of them that we've tried have been fantastic. The Mole, I think, just stands out amongst them all as being different, inventive, something that, you know, you're not going to be able to find anywhere else except for Griffin Claw. And really, the same goes for Oblivious. I think you could sit down and have an Oblivious and just be completely wowed.
I think Oblivious is good for all seasons, whereas I think Mole is good for kind of colder weather. I don't know if in the summer you'd necessarily want to sit down with a spicy stout, but yeah, for sure. I would say that you know, amongst all these, Coffee and Hazelnut was kind of the biggest letdown between all these different beers that we had, but I would say Mole was the biggest surprise. It's the biggest, just kind of, again, out of left field kind of beer. And with that, for 2018, I'm going to say that Griffin Claw's Mole was the #1 Flying Buffalo flavor. If I had a chance, again, to go back, this would be the one. If I only could buy one, you know, 4-pack or 6-pack, I would buy Mole from Griffin Claw for the whole Flying Buffalo series. It's #1 champ, and going to give Dave a big cheers. Thank you very much for having me over. Again, Chris, big shout out. Thank you very much for giving me all these different beers to try. And for you guys, again, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. You can find links to my videos beneath this. If you have any comments or any questions, have you had the Flying Buffalo before? Have you had all 8 of these like we crazy guys have? Or have you had, you know, a few of them? What did you think? How would you rank them? Let me know in the comments down below. You can also find links to my social media and my blog at drafttherapy.com. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Dave here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And remember, drink craft beer. Whoa, support your local breweries wherever they are. And until next time, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
Cheers.